brother? Why do you say you don't want to be in the U.S.?
A myriad of different reasons. But I think, let me put it this way. I also do want to clarify that my experience of America isn't the true America. I've been to LA, I've been to Miami, I've been to New York, all these places, quite a few times for business. I feel like New York is the most authentic version of those three. I need to spend a little bit more time in middle America. I need to spend a little bit more time in some rural places. And I think I'll probably get more of the true essence of what America is actually like. So I say I don't like America. I think I've just from a young age not been fond of America when it comes to geopolitics, America's involvement in many different places in the world. But as a people, I do like the American spirit. And there are things I do definitely adore about America. I just haven't had the time to go to the right places to truly experience it. Basically, there was a little mix-up with our other place, and we ended up having to get accommodation sorted last minute. And this place is obviously massive, very nice. This is a place that Post Malone always stays at apparently, but it just gives me LA gives me creepy vibes, and then I don't know, any place I know that like a superstar has stayed at, I don't know, it just gives me even creepier vibe.
It's pretty crazy how this happened. I know I told you the name of the podcast is Nonchalant. I'm going to get a little chalant right now.
Okay.
We were actually at dinner when we DM'd you. We were kind of thinking about how to riz you, get you on the podcast. And we're thinking we'll plant the seed right now. Maybe in like 6 months we fly out to Dubai, we make something happen. But as we're about to type something up, the sushi comes in, we start chomping. After we're done, Max checks his phone, you're in LA. And it's like we can make this happen as second guest. So I appreciate you moving quick. Are you going after the war room? Mm-hmm. What's going on there?
I basically just wanted to create masterclass, but for hard skills. And I wanted to get the people that I respect the most on board. For example, we just got Jordan Welch on board. He's coming on and teaching e-commerce. The thing is, I can only teach what I've done. So I can teach agency and maybe a couple other things, but also I need to be able to teach what I've done, because I've done e-commerce. I do 7 figures a year with e-commerce, but that's not because of skill. Like, that's just because I have an audience. So it would be wrong of me to try to pretend that like I could teach that to someone. So yeah, there's many ways to make money. There's a few ways that I don't think I'll ever teach inside of Educate. And quite frankly, I think it's a little immoral. I think it's a little immoral to tell beginners that they should get into crypto trading or stock trading or things like Amazon FBA and spend $6,000 on stock. But, for example, things like e-commerce, you can get started with very, very minimal money. You can get started with just TikTok and that's it, and use that to validate a product. So yeah, basically Educate is, our motto is we want to have 10 times the impact on someone's income for 1/100th the price of a college education. And that's what we do.
Is the motivation behind this business?
Whereas when I'm feeling bad or I'm feeling tired or I'm feeling down, I'm not thinking like this isn't the life that I want, because I know that I don't want to retire. Like, I don't want that quiet life, because I said that's just not authentic to me personally. And who knows, maybe later down the line, maybe that changes. But for right now, I'm living life in the way that's, is true to kind of my character.
But you have toyed around with the idea of quitting social media.
Yeah, it's something that seems more and more appealing day by day. And I think it's a few things. First of all, social media is ever changing. And I know that, within 3 years, maybe 4 or 5 years max, like, I will not have anywhere near the same relevance as I do now. And I think a lot of people, a lot of people up when they have careers that are short-lived, to think that it will just keep going on forever and ever. So I know that there's, a few more years where people really genuinely want to hear what I have to say. And then after that point, you've heard what I've had to say many times. And that's also why I take these long breaks from podcasts, because I don't want to come here and say the same thing again and again. And I think if you listen to my podcast even a year ago, you can tell like I've had new perspectives, and who knows, maybe in a year, maybe, something massive changes in my life. Who knows, maybe I'm a father. You never know. So maybe that totally warps and changes my perspective. I think that there's something nice and poetic about going out when you're on top. I do, even certain footballers, I look at them and they're playing until, and I get it's tough when you really, really love it. And, they're playing until they're 38, 39. It's kind of like, what would have been really baller? Like what would have been the real like gangster move? Just like go out at 33 when you're like still kind of up there. And it's like, that's really cool to me. And I'm very comfortable with that because your career online or people's interest for you online is very short lived. So I was like, why is it that gambling is the one thing that they're allowed to promote and like make it such a idealistic thing? And it's crazy because everyone does it, and I've talked openly about my respect for Drake in terms of a career perspective. And I had some people be like, oh, but you respect Drake. And I also just want to make something very clear. The same applies to me. You can respect my business career, you can respect or maybe you don't respect my business career, but you respect my stance on this. Like, you don't have to agree with a person in their entirety.
It's one of your recent uploads, and I'm looking at the video, and it's got 2 million views, and it's a lecture on speaking out against porn. And I mean, that's such an awesome thing that you can garner 2 million views and impact a whole generation of young men with these values. It's unheard of. Like the kind of views you're pulling.
No, I appreciate that. Listen, I want to make something very clear. I am no saint. I am very flawed in many, many ways. But I also don't think you should trust someone who thinks they're a perfect human. So bear in mind, I am 23 years old. I grew up very, very, very quickly. I feel like a grandpa in most facets of my life. But I'm just still trying to figure things out. I think a lot of my passion when it comes to teaching the things that I've learned, whether you agree with my methodology is a different story, comes from the fact that, I grew up without a dad. And listen, you can talk about skin color, you can talk about where a person grows up.